What's going on, everybody? Good morning. We have made it to the weekend. Happy Saturday. And we're going to do something a little bit different today. Just a little bit different, not radically different. But I decided I wanted to mix up the mock draft formula a little bit because we are almost to the actual draft. So we've got 5 days until we start figuring out what's actually going to happen. So we may as well take this time to talk about what we hope happens. And this mock draft, as you can see from the label on screen, is going to be the pie in the sky one. This is going to be the dream mock draft. This is, for me, the scenario that I think would be the best, that could still, in some universe, happen, right? And that's the important part here. It has to feel possible, even if extremely unlikely. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. More on them a little bit later. But yeah, that's kind of the key here, right? Like, I'm not going to give the Seahawks Jeremiah Love at 32 overall because Jeremiah Love is not going to get to 32 overall. There's no universe where that happens unless he gets caught doing something very, very, very bad in the next few days. And even then, the Seahawks probably wouldn't take him, right? They've proven that they care about that character stuff. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to have the Seahawks get Arvell Reese or anything like that. We need to talk about things that actually feel like they could happen, but only happen in that 1 in a million scenario where everything just kind of comes together perfectly. So, with that being said, let's go through my dream mock draft, starting with the first round pick. And that is going to be Jermod McCoy, the cornerback out of Tennessee. Jermod McCoy, he is, to me, what Will Johnson was last year, except a little bit better. Will Johnson, I think, was a top 5, at least top 10 player in the draft last year. He fell because of injury, and maybe that was valid. Maybe not. We'll see. We don't know yet. We know Will Johnson had a great rookie year, but didn't play the whole season. Jermod McCoy, to me, is probably a little bit better than Will Johnson, and he has similar injury concerns because he hasn't played football in a while. But to me, the injury concern isn't on the level of chronic like it was with Will Johnson. And furthermore, I think that Jermod McCoy is, like I said, a little bit of a better prospect. And at the same time, and the reason why I put him here, I can see a universe where teams chicken out of drafting him. I can see a world where he ends up falling way further than people think because of the injury stuff. And if that happens, I mean, it's a heck of a reach. But I would have said the same about Will Johnson last year. So that would be my dream first round pick. Obviously, it is a gamble, but I am down to gamble right now. This is a bad draft. We have bad picks. Let's roll the dice on somebody who may be the best corner in this class. Maybe should be a top 8 pick. But injuries have kind of conspired to push him down. That is the kind of guy I want to go after in a draft like this. And like I said, and this is the important part, I'm not saying it's likely. I'm not saying it's even unlikely. It's a very, very unlikely possibility. But I do believe it is on the table in some universe where teams just decide they're scared. And the Seahawks don't have to be so scared because they pick at the bottom of the first and they have the luxury of making a pick like this. Do you like sports? If you do, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players' projections and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. I've had a great time using Prize Picks so far. It makes this daily fantasy thing so easy and fun, and it even makes watching the games way more exciting. And with the cool social feeds feature, you can share lineups with your friends and even follow partners to tail or fade their picks. Obviously, we're in the NFL offseason right now, but we've got basketball, baseball, hockey, all kinds of other stuff, so don't be afraid to test things out in whatever sport clicks with you. You can even pick multiple sports in the same lineup and sweat everything at once. And don't forget about team picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So, download Prize Picks, America's #1 sports app. And don't forget, Code HMA, that is HMA, gives you $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize picks. It's good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. All right, so second round pick. This is going to be another one that is very unlikely, but sure would be nice. Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas. He's slipping. I don't know what's going on, but you go to the aggregate big board, he's outside of the top 50 now. So suddenly a slip to 64 actually seems in range. And given the fact that he's testing well, he's got good measurables, I don't really know why. I mean, okay, on some level I understand he did not have a great season in 2025, but I think that is putting teams off of him in a way that is probably a little bit counterintuitive. This guy is extremely talented. He's young. He brings a little bit of everything you could want from a player to the table. I think he has a high floor. I think he has a high ceiling. I see something here that I'm really starting to get into. And for whatever reason, these other teams seem like they're not. Now, we might get to draft day and then he ends up being an early second round pick because somebody looks at him and sees the same thing that I do. But as time has gone by, he is slipping. Remember, when the year started, he was considered to be a late first rounder, and then he fell into the second, early second, mid second. Now he's starting to slip even beyond the mid second. Maybe there's something going on here that is pushing him down, but whatever it is, I'm buckled up for this ride. And Hill is so young, it might make some sense if he barely plays as a rookie. So if you have him behind Jones and Drake Thomas for a year, there's nothing wrong with that. Even if you have him behind Tyrese Knight as the third linebacker. So that would be my second round pick. My third round pick is going to be Dani Dennis-Sutton, the Penn State edge. To me, he is just the kind of thing that McDonald would want. A bigger, stronger edge who plays the run, offers a little bit as a pass rusher, but not a ton, but can stay out there on early downs, can grind it out, can basically do a little bit of everything you want without necessarily being stellar. He's not going to be uber flashy. He's not going to be one of those guys that is always just making big splash plays, but he is a good all-around player. And at this point, it seems like he is a third-round pick. But the thing with Dennis-Sutton is he's another one of these Penn State guys that gets a lot of hype and then doesn't really produce at the level people expect in college, so they slip. We see this a lot. But he's very talented. He's a good athlete. And for whatever reason, it seems like teams are starting to kind of fade on him a little bit. So a slip to the back of the third now seems entirely viable. And I think he would give the Seahawks somebody that they could even get something out of as a rookie. Like, I think Dennis-Sutton could do stuff in 2026 for this team. Maybe not a ton, but I think he could get snaps and be at least as good as Boye Mafe was when he was a rookie. So that's my top three. At this point, I feel like you've got a franchise corner to go alongside Witherspoon, and you're going to have the best corner room in the league for a while, assuming McCoy can stay healthy. You're going to have a franchise linebacker of the future, and then you're also getting a early down starting caliber edge, maybe not immediately, but eventually. And you're getting guys that are young, right? These guys have room to grow. And we do have one more pick, and this one going down into like the sixth round is tough because players can slip like crazy once you get to day 3. So it feels like once you get to that range, almost anything can happen. But I don't want to go too crazy with it. I don't want to go like Dalen Everett. I don't think Dalen Everett's going to get to the 6th round. I just don't. I know that he is projected to be an early day 3 guy, so it's on the table. I don't buy it though. Something I do buy would be Demond Claiborne, the running back from Wake Forest. He's projected to be like a 5th round pick. 6th round is reasonable, especially because he is a flawed player. And any player you get this late in this draft, especially, is going to be flawed. There's no way around it. But Wake Forest running back, he is basically Ken Walker, except not as good. And I know that sounds kind of disparaging. It's really not. The point I'm trying to make is that Demond Claiborne plays in the same style and has some of the same skill set as Walker. He's fast, he's elusive, he can accelerate quickly. He is that kind of open field problem. And the main issue, the main difference here is that he's a fumbler, and Ken Walker did not fumble pretty much ever. But Claiborne is someone who is going to give you some of the same issues on third downs. He's going to be occasionally frustrating with how he dances. He's going to pick the wrong hole, but he's going to give you speed. He's going to give you quickness. He's going to give you agility. This is the kind of guy you get when you're trying to replace Ken Walker, but you don't have the resources to get a full Ken Walker. This is like the diet Ken Walker. So even though he's not a stellar player, I view him as being the kind of thing that we need right now. So that is my dream mock draft, the kind of 1 in a million scenario, like Doctor Strange holding up the one finger without going over the top, right? Like I said, there are players that we're not going to get. We're not going to get Sonny Styles at 32, right? We're not going to get even somebody like a Makai Lemon. They're not going to be there. But this scenario actually could happen. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos coming later. We're going to wrap up tight end later today, I think. And then we are just doing a little bit of cleanup as we head into the actual draft. By the way, big board stuff will be coming out soon. I know I usually posted a lot earlier than this, but I had a hard time this year because I was a little behind in my evaluation. So keep an eye out on that. All right. Go Hawks. And let me know what you guys think about this.